What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark, back at MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and I'm back with more Talking Oscars. And these are my early predictions for Best Director. Yesterday I did Picture. We're doing Director today. I think you see where this is going. You're smart people. You're good people. Click like and subscribe. I'd like to keep you around for a little bit longer. You seem like winners. Yeah, we're just going to go through the list of who I think has a shot at a nomination this year. It's kind of the same thing with Picture. We lean a lot on known talent, known actors, known directors, not so much breakthroughs, distributors. It's hard to predict things that don't have distributors, films we don't know yet. Considering last year, at this time, nobody was really talking about, like, Emilia Perez, The Brutalist. Like, these lists are all kind of bullshit. Some of the films we did know ended up becoming just nothing burgers, like The Piano Lesson. Remember when everybody thought Samuel Jackson? I was one of them. I bought into it. The hype, Samuel Jackson for The Piano Lesson, went nowhere. So, but there were some that we knew about early in advance that ended up lasting. And some that just kind of made sense on paper, and they got some nominations. Like Daniel Craig on Queer, a lot of people pegged that early on, and it just, it just didn't materialize. But he was definitely close. Like, if we had 6 nominees, I think he would have been number 6. So, what do we have here? So, first up on the list is Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. I had this film at number 1. I still have this director at number 1. It's Paul Thomas Anderson. He's well regarded. He's also very supportive of other filmmakers. He's sort of a film nerd, so I think it's easy. Him and Guillermo del Toro have a lot of goodwill built around them. They're not like assholes that just go off on their own and I don't know, live weird lifestyles where they don't want to talk to anybody ever. So, because of Anderson and his clout and everything built up to this point, his first time working with Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm optimistic. The film, I'm not bothered by the release date. I just think it shows that because it's being put out by a major studio and they felt they spent a significant amount of money on it, they just want return on their box office. This isn't Apple with Killers of the Flower Moon where they can just release it and then be like, streaming. It's okay because of streaming, No, it's a film that actually needs box office performance. They have to release it at a time, but it's also not a franchise movie. There's not really much else they can do with it. It doesn't feel like it's a Christmas movie for them. They don't want it to get too buried in Oscar season, but they want to open it at a time where it maybe feels like it can keep that momentum up. So I think they're shooting for sort of that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood time frame. So that's what we're getting. And I do have him at number 1, and he would be one of my slots for nomination. Moving down the list, Yorgos Lanthimos for Begonia. You never know. It's like, it's either the film's going to work or it's not going to work. Part of my caution around this is there's going to be no passion for Emma Stone. I know, hot take. But you can't tell me that somebody that young who already has 2 Academy Award nominations is going to have a massive campaign behind her that people are going to get behind and be like, oh my God, we have to get Emma Stone another nomination. She just won a few years ago her 2nd Academy Award, but Jesus, if she's not nominated this year for Begonia, it really doesn't even matter how good she is. She'll just find a way of not being nominated. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. She will not be nominated. I'm not predicting her ever. I don't care. She could win. She would need to win SAG, Golden Globe, and BAFTA before I'm like, all right, I guess she's going to get an Oscar nomination. She's not winning the Oscars. She's not winning a 3rd Oscar at this young in her career. It's just not going to happen. She could cut off her right arm in the middle of the movie, and her actual arm, and people would still not. She could revenant her way, and people would just be like, no, you just got one. It's like 3 Oscars in less than 10 years. No. So, I don't know. But Yorgos is still, he feels like a solid choice for director. He's developing his own little following. and he's fairly consistent with audiences and critics, and no reason to really doubt him at this point. So, number 3, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. The Safdie brothers have created enough clout behind them. If one of the two is going to get nominated, it's going to be Josh for Marty Supreme, which is being given sort of like the A24 Golden Boy slot that Brutalist had last year. Although this could, if they end up picking up something out of Cannes, that could change real fast, and then they could end up with 2 movies sort of at the end of the year, which they do a lot, and then one of them ends up sort of not becoming the massive phenomenon it needs to be. A24 sometimes has almost too much clout they're chasing, and they end up losing films along the way as a result, like Queer and Baby Girl. But there's that. So Safdie for, anyway. Right now I'm going with Ryan Coogler for Sinners. I kind of wonder if that can last, but I feel like he is due. I feel like that's a thing. His consistency level is really high. People like Sinners. It's the first thing sort of in the year, and it's going to be that people will talk about it for a long time. It's an original concept. It's a swing for Coogler. There's so much there that they're going to like in terms of auteur style that I feel like he could get the nomination. I really do. I really feel like he could get the nomination for that, even though it feels like not necessarily the film that people would go see. It doesn't mean that I think we're completely open up to genre films. It's just something always gets nominated for the first half of the year, and we have nothing else that's being released in the first half of the year that I feel remotely confident in. And Coogler has attracted attention before, and I think for his first original film, why not? Like, why wouldn't they give it? Plus, we have to see some of the other films and how people react to them. So, number 5, I've got Joaquin Trier. Joaquin Trier for Sentimental Value, because we're going to nominate somebody who's not as well known and also international. And so I think, yes, Yorgos fulfills that quotient, but he's starting to direct so many films with distinctly American casts that he kind of gets lost. It's sort of like saying Edward Berger is an international nominee. Like, it doesn't feel that way anymore. It should, but it doesn't. Yeah, I've got him for fifth place for Sentimental Value. I think it's going to do well at Cannes. I feel like it is. I feel like this is a film. I feel like Stellan Skarsgård makes sense. Could also get a lead actress. So, yep. Moving down the list, who else could get in? Luca Guadagnino for After the Hunt. He had 2 strong films last year. Neither one of them amounted to anything, but they were both in a conversation. Now this year he has one. It's After the Hunt. It's got Julia Roberts, so eyes will be on it. He has a big actress in it, and who knows what he's doing for her career. He definitely is an auteur that stretches into his own style. So we'll see how After the Hunt is respected or not respected. Is it the next greatest Luca Guadagnino thing? I don't know. We'll find out. But I feel like Luca could swap in for somebody else. John M. Chu for Wicked for Good. If they feel like he should have gotten it for the first film, he could end up getting it for the second film. Sort of like in a reverse James Cameron. He could end up, yeah. I mean, he did win some awards for Wicked. I'm not that big of a John M. Chu fan. I actually had a conversation a couple weeks ago with friends I hadn't seen in a while, and we brought up the John M. Chu factor. And yep, I had to check some people just to make sure. We still hate In the Heights. So, and those were Latinx friends who were very familiar with the music theater kids, and they still find that movie to be an abomination. And we're quite surprised by Wicked because of the same director. So he's come a long way. We'll see how he does directing Act 2 of Wicked. So Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein. I mentioned yesterday when I did not put this in my top 10 that I think Guillermo is the kind of director who could get nominated without his film being in picture. I do believe that. I think he's uniquely one of those names. He's one of the few names that I think could easily pull that off because people like him and he has a style, and he also is wildly supportive of everybody else and film in general. So I could see people backing him even if his film ends up being like 11th or 12th and ultimately not getting the nomination. He could still be a force in the race. Chloe Zhao for Hamnet because she is a previous winner. They will be looking at her. I don't think she'll get the nomination, but she's worth mentioning. I don't think she's that lucky to have back-to-back massive successes like that for her. Anyway, not really back-to-back. She did the Eternals. Never mind. Noah Baumbach for Jay Kelly. Maybe it's so hard to tell with Baumbach. I just wouldn't predict him until I've seen Jay Kelly because there are two kinds of Baumbach movies. So what kind is Jay Kelly? I went on a limb and said picture because I think if it has the kind of actors, the George Clooney and Adam Sandler, but the Meyerowitz stories also had Adam Sandler. So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to know where the Baumbach stuff is going, but there seems to be so much love right now for Sandler. We'll see if it can carry an entire year. It's hard to be a front runner for a year. So Park Chan-wook for No Other Choice. Just because a well-known director and international, basically, as a possibility. And Lynn Ramsey for Die My Love. Again, we have to pay attention to female directors. So I don't think it's going to happen for her, but until I see the film, she's consistent enough that I'm interested in what it is she's doing. So, but I think that could end up being like Night Bitch, basically. Same result. Spike Lee highest to lowest because, again, it's Spike Lee, so I can't not talk about him. I've also got Darren Aronofsky on here. There are too many directors who like have reached a certain point where people are going to talk about their film, at least talk about it. Now whether or not they get nominated is a completely different thing, but there are certain directors that are so well regarded that we're at least going to have like a 5-minute conversation about them once we've seen their movie. Edward Berger for The Ballad of whatever. I don't know, my screen reader, I lost track of it at the time. The new Edward Berger movie that nobody thinks is going to get an Oscar nomination because a lot of people didn't think Conclave would get an Oscar nomination. I don't have it in my top because wouldn't that be insane if the man went 3 for 3? Just he's got to miss at some point, right? I mean, the man has never been nominated for Best Director, but he has 2 Best Picture nominees. If he were to get a third without getting a director nomination, something's wrong. Like, so, there's no way he can't be in picture without getting a director nomination for a third time, right? I mean, that can't possibly happen for him a third time in a row, by the way. We're not talking about, like, in his career. We're talking about in a row. To have that level of consistency would make him, like, a prophet in terms of filmmaking. So, I'm rooting for him. I think he's a great director, but there's something about that that just says he's got to have a film miss at some point, right? Maybe not. Scott Cooper for Deliver Me From Nowhere. I don't know if there's going to be a huge push for Scott Cooper, although I would have said the same thing about A Complete Unknown, but that's why I'm at least tracking Scott Cooper, because I did predict Deliver Me From Nowhere in picture. I think he's going to be the one that kind of misses out on director, though. We'll see. Moving down the list. Kelly Reichardt for The Mastermind. Just because Kelly Reichardt is somebody that people pay attention to, I don't think the Oscars are ready for Kelly. But at some point, Kelly might direct a film that the Oscars are ready for, and all that goodwill that they have built up with film Twitter may pay off. James L. Brooks for Ella McKay, in case anybody wants to go for a classic. Although what we see a lot of times with directors who are late stage, some of them have dropped off in terms of quality, and so I feel like talking about James L. Brooks for Ella McKay is like talking about Ridley Scott for Gladiator 2. His last film was How Do You Know? For those who don't remember, I think his last film was How Do You Know, which was not a good movie. So there's a lot riding on Ella McKay, but there was also a lot riding on Megalopolis for Francis Ford Coppola, and that didn't work out well. So we'll see. I mean, Brooks is a great director. He brought us As Good As You Get, As Good As It Gets. So, and among other things, among many other things, but yeah, it's maybe. Darren Aronofsky for Caught Stealing. I referenced it. I said I was going to have him on here. I have to track Darren. The general buzz in this film is that it's not Oscar bait, but it's still Darren Aronofsky. I mean, he's inherently going to float into the conversation whether you want it to or not, unless his film bombs. If his film is good, whether you consider it Oscar bait or not is sort of irrelevant. He's still Darren Aronofsky, and people are going to float his name for the remainder of the season. Celine Song for The Materialist. We'll see what her follow-up is like, whether or not she did not get a director nomination the first time. Maybe she will the second time. I don't know. We'll see how that works out for her. And Bradley Cooper for Is This Thing On? Because same reason. You know, he's done really well for his directing career. A lot of people, again, don't think that this will get a nomination. This is not the same thing, like the Edward Berger thing, where it's like, no, not that film. But then it's funny because everybody's like, oh, but Yorgos, he's bulletproof. So, but he didn't get nominated last year. I mean, his film last year was an anthology movie, so that's one of the reasons. So not everybody's bulletproof, and not everybody, just because their name alone gets in and doesn't get in. It's weird to read the room, but we're all just guessing on names right now. So that's what I got for director. And it's early and it doesn't mean anything. So thanks for watching. Everybody else is doing this, so why not? And I'll see you guys on the other side.